What's up, guys? Rick from DFS On Demand here with your one and done preview for the Open Championship. Now, if you've been paying attention to content this week, you know Open Championship content is out early. So with that being said, I don't know how our one and done picks did for the John Deere Classic. I'm going to say they won. No, I have no idea. So I don't know how they finish up. And I obviously don't know the result of that tournament. And I don't know the result of the Scottish Open. With that being said, I wanted to get this out early and we'll kind of talk more strategic. So if I were looking at this situation that we have on hand this week, there's a couple of things to consider. This is the third tournament of segment 3. Which is going to have a ton of money with the playoff events, the Open Championship. There's a WGC, just a ton of money here in this segment. So if you've gotten off to a good start, great. You have a chance to win it and bank a bunch of money this week. Now, my personal problem is I have used this list of golfers, this is my weekly pick, which is essentially all the best golfers on the planet. I took a strategy of kind of burning through them as early and as often as possible, never holding on to them because you might never get a chance to use them. So I've burned through, just looking at the favorites here, Brooks, Rory, Tiger, Rahm, Rose, JT, Bryson. Who else might I actually consider playing this week? Cantlay. Even if you wanted to go down to Spieth, I have used all of those guys. Hideki, Stenson, Day, like literally everybody. So just as I was going through it, there's really for me one option. That option is Tommy Fleetwood. He's got the best odds of guys that I have not used. It helps that he's got a little Euro, so he would tend to play well in a British Open or an Open Championship type conditions. I'll show you his results in a second. Or actually, I guess I'll pull them up right now. So here's the cheat sheet for this week or for the Open Championship, and for Fleetwood, he's right here, all around game. I'm a big fan of Tommy. He can show up in majors. He's been okay coming into this, 13th at the Travelers, 23rd at the Irish Open. Nothing to write home about, but basically two straight top 25s at the Open Championship, 27th 2 years ago, 12th in 2018. Courses like this, link style, in case things get a little hairy in the wind, probably are going to fit Fleetwood more than some of the other guys in this field. So I'm not super, I don't love this, but I also don't hate it. On a more of a macro level, if you were having to decide, and I'm showing you right now the Gups Corner ownership totals for this year. So this does not include anybody at the John Deere Classic, but I guess none of these big names are even playing it, so it doesn't matter. This is what it's going to look like for the Open Championship. And I would say if you've got any of these guys left, so Hideki has been used 2,500 times, DJ has been used 2,500 times, Jon Rahm 23, Rory 22. I suppose if you still have one of these guys left, you're saving them for here, or maybe the WGC next week, or maybe a playoff event. But this, the last major of the year is probably where you're burning these guys. If I had DJ in my pocket here, I'd burn him. Where DJ is now kind of the overlooked stud, and he's also he's the second most used golfer, so a lot of you can't even use him. I would love to roster him here. I probably would have suspected that Rory would have been the favorite or the guy who was most owned this week, but now you have Rahm, who just storms out and wins the Irish Open, and I guess we'll see what happens at the Scottish. Rahm is still out there. I wonder if that digs into Rory a bit, because 2,200 of you have actually used Rory. So I think there's a couple of contrarian plays. I think Rory's great, obviously. I think Rahm is great, but to go get DJ, to maybe use Justin Thomas here, I think is a really smart leverage play. And both of those guys are 6 or 7 top used golfers. And then finally, we've got my season-long lineup going on here. I had in this spot Henrik Stenson, which, it's funny. I keep doing these videos about the season-long lineup, and I feel so smart. I feel so smart every time I look at my spreadsheet, because I only look at it once a week. I look at it and I'm like, who do I have for this tournament? And I'm like, oh, Joaquin Neiman. He's one of the top favorites. Oh, Henrik Stenson, not one of the top favorites here at the Open Championship, but I feel much more comfortable with this. I'm always a little nervous. I'm going to flip it over there and it's going to be like Ryan Moore or somebody, you know what I mean? But anyway, the only knock on Stenson here is that he just hasn't played. Like, you know, 2 back-to-back top 10s. Obviously has hoisted the claret jug before. He's got the win in 2016 and 11th in 2017. Hasn't missed the cut in at least the last 5 or 6 years. So Stenson, I'm thrilled to have him. If he goes out and wins this thing, I don't think he's going to be very popular in terms of the Gups Corner one and done, because there's so many other options here, and most people have been saving someone for this situation. So yeah, that's it. Actually, that might be actually a really good question. How far in advance are you planning your picks? Are you guys just doing this week by week? Are you actually earmarking somebody for? What I assume and what I notice is people are earmarking golfers for the major. So you might say, I'm going to play DJ at the US Open. I'll play Brooks at the PGA. I'll play Rory at the Open Championship. And then after that, week to week, it just comes together, whatever you want to do. Let me know if I'm right or wrong about that. How far in advance are you planning? Tweet me. It's at DFS On Demand, or leave a comment below. Good luck.